Tom, I don't think I can engage this, honestly. Welcome to the show, guys.
Listen, I'm going to give y'all a little peek into how the sausage is made when it comes to infrastructure, okay? I've had this on my heart and my mind for a number of years now, but I guess just good as any time to come out and tell it. I once was left in charge of the city of Whitesburg Water, and I did not, well, let's just say if we were in the schooner and spice trading times, I would have been brought up to be hung for dereliction of duty.
Shocking. We are floored.
First night out of the gate, my boss, Steve, God rest his soul, he looked at me and said, "You're a smart guy. You've been to school. Let me just show you real quick how to keep these tanks open and running." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a quick study. How hard could it be?" And it turns out that there's a little bit of a learning curve. He said, "Well, this tank's supposed to be at this level," because you can see there's a couple of tanks in Whitesburg, and you can see in the water plant what level they're at. And you need to start treating water and pumping it out in the system once they all dip below certain thresholds. And each threshold for each tank is different, just depending upon how big it is. Well, I had fallen asleep.
Oh my God.
There's the air conditioning was running. It was nice.
Classic.
I heard the phone ring. And y'all know this part of the story already. This woman called me and she said, "My water's browner than a ginger cake." And then my heart started pumping a little bit harder, and I was like, "What?" And I looked over at that damn water tank, one of them, and it was supposed to be at 14, and it was at 4. And I sprung into action. I started what I'm saying is you're supposed to start treating water and pumping it in the system when it gets to 13.8.
Right.
Oh, God.
I said, "Ma'am," we're on it. We've got an issue. I'm working on it. Relax. And she said, "What do you mean relax?" And I said, "I didn't mean it that way." And then I started treating water. I said, "I gotta go." I started treating water. And I was in a fucking panic, and I butchered 8 steps that you're supposed to do. So I was just and I just kept looking at it. It was really like the Titanic. You're just sitting there looking at your watch and saying, "Okay, the dialysis clinic has about 2 hours worth of water left. So this is a crisis." So I was like, I can't pretend anymore. So I called the boss. He said, very calmly, just very demure man, he said, "What's your tank at?" And I said, "Which one?" And I was beating around. I didn't want to tell him. He said, "The Tunnel Hill tank." I said, "Steve, it's at 4.1. He said, "It's at 4.1. He said, "You mean 14.1? I said, "Steve," it's at 4.1.
I'm going to be honest with you.
He said, "My God, I'll be right there." And the most even keel man you've ever met in your life came there, and he was so pissed. And I said, "Well, what's going on here?" And then everybody, it was all hands on deck. Every water worker got called to the office. And I'm sitting there with my face in my hands and like I'm getting ready to face a military tribunal. And I was like, "So what's how bad is this?" And nobody's giving me a straight answer. And as it turns out, we had to run the plant around the clock for the next 2 weeks to make that up.
So,
typically you stop treating water at 2 o'clock at night because you're fine till the next day. You know what I mean? But we had to go around the clock, and everybody had to pull extra shifts, and they were not happy with me. Some were happy because they got easy overtime, but others were not happy.
And you had the gall to blame me and Terrence for you not getting elected.
Listen, no, that was before I won the race. I won the race the first time, but man,
basically the story you're saying here, the lesson of this is that a bunch of Tom Sextons are running.
You have a bunch of slapdicks like me that are pulling the levers, man. Not everybody. A lot of people are trained professionals and whatever, but occasionally a Tom Sexton slips in there. But the point to the story is It takes about 9 straight guys that know what they're doing to cover up one mistake made by one slapdick.
Right.
Well,
I'll say this. I recovered and was an excellent water plant operator after that. But to be fair, and I don't want to besmirch him because he's exited this mortal coil, but Steve, there's a little culpability on his part for throwing me out there to the wolves night one.
He shouldn't have put you in charge. You're right.
now I think the moral here is that all the people who know what they're doing are within 5 years of retirement, and we got a bunch of Tom Sextons waiting to step in and take over the reins here of the greatest country on earth's infrastructure.
Listen, we all make mistakes, and in the end, it was fine. The dialysis clinic was saved. It all worked out. But I was dangerously close to just ruining my life because I couldn't live with myself if I'd known a bunch of people getting dialysis. And you know what I mean? Point is don't be a cowboy. If you don't know how to do something, you don't know how to, that's fine.
Yep.